The Flash Season 9, where villains can't act and Iris is pregnant, where Barry is gone for half the episodes and Joe has left forever.
I think we should leave Central City.
Today, let's break down and recap the main plotline from the current 8 episodes of the final Flash season, Season 9. The main plot for episode 9x1 starts off at night, when the Flash shows Iris a very important book, a book known as the Map Book. Here he tells her this book has the entire future already written within it, but yet Iris seems to not like the idea of already knowing her future. They go back and forth for a little bit, but the real mysterious stuff happens when they wake up the following day. Iris is going through her normal day at work, yet she seems to know everything Allegra is telling her, even knowing to hold her back from getting shoved by another worker. It's almost like she's lived the day already. Things only get weirder when Allegra tells Iris that her company is being bought out by a big corporation. Now usually a normal person would be extremely excited about news like this, but Iris seems to not care because the map book already said this was gonna happen and Iris didn't want to follow its rules, blah 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 blah. But then we find out Barry and Iris are in fact stuck in a time loop, and our bestie Chester says it's occurring because Flash keeps interacting with a rumor, a device that the villain is trying to steal. But the problem is, every time Barry stops him from stealing it, his speed is forced to interact with it, which causes this daily temporal time loop. Now, keeping this scientific theory in mind, Barry Allen has his own theory. He says the reason they're stuck here is because Iris won't follow the map book because she won't say yes to the big corporation buying them out. And to that, Iris simply brushes this off in a typical Iris fashion and says she likes the freedom of making her own decisions, so she won't say yes. She doesn't care if they repeat the same day over and over for 1,000 years because she prefers her freedom. Okay, yes Iris, yes! Thankfully, 10 minutes later she comes to her senses and finally says the magic word. Yes. And it seems like things finally may be going back to normal. All that was left is to fight this villain once more and return to normal time. But then, of course, the unexpected happens. We find out this time the villain has a tactical nuke in a cylinder and it was going to blow any second. In a flash, our heroic superhero decides the best course of action here, phasing the entire nuke through the city. The entire nuke. Truly one of the greatest feats the Flash has done ever in the entire history of the Flash show. But moving on, then we cut to a scene with the earlier villain reporting back to a hideout where we first lay eyes on our next main villain. Nothing's revealed about the main villain yet besides the dark gloomy eyes and a red lightning streak, but the villain says,
"The Flash is never truly alone, but once I'm done with him, he will be."
Okay, you know what, Mystery Man, you got it, bro. Now things are actually getting serious. This next episode is pretty pointless when it comes to the main plot, but basically it focuses on how Caitlin is now dead, and in her place, a new prototype person has come along known as Keyhone. The entire Flash team debates on whether they should turn this girl back into Caitlin or Frost, but eventually this prototype becomes self-aware thanks to a beautiful, rainy conversation with Cecile, and realizes she doesn't want to turn back and wants to start living life as a person who named herself Keyhone. But before we move on, can we just talk about the Flash team's reaction to Caitlin dying? Caitlin literally being dead? An OG member of the Flash team, a member from day one, has died, and this is how you react? You're funny, Flash team. You guys are funny. Yeah. Next, we encounter this crazy violin-using meta-villain known as the Fiddler. Her main goal is to steal Hartley's sonic gauntlets, and after some back and forth intense fights, she becomes successful in stealing them, but we still don't know what for. Nearing the end of the episode, we find out that she is also working for this mysterious villain, and the gauntlet device she stole is an important component for whatever device they're building. We're given some quick visuals of this, but still we aren't sure what they're actually building and trying to do. And unlucky for us, we have no time to think about it because now a temporal scanner has also been stolen. Barry Allen puts the pieces together and realizes everything that has been stolen up until now is used to create a cosmic treadmill, a machine that's used to open quantum wormholes in space and time, allowing its user to time travel with ease and also corrupting the entire timeline along with it. But why would our main villain want to time travel so bad, guys? Why? I guess only one way to find out. Let's keep going. A couple minutes later, the Flash team realizes the villains are missing one key component that's needed to build this almighty cosmic treadmill, a vibration engine. So with lightning speed, the Flash creates a one-time team to go steal the engine with him from a max level secured facility. And guys, to be honest, at first, the robbery looks like it's going pretty well, but some would say a little too well. And that's exactly when the team gets ambushed by 3 thieving villains, plus Mark, plus this guy right here, I guess. This loser basically switched sides because he was mad that Keyhone didn't want to be Frost again, so like he's an evil guy for now, okay? Evil guy. Anyways, they all get into an action-packed fight for this vibration engine until some entity knocks them all to their feet, in one fell sweep. That entity being the speedster we encountered a couple times before. And after the speedster has a little bit of eye contact with the Flash, a little bit of tension, a little bit of flirting, they run off with the vibration engine, the last component they needed to build the treadmill. But guys, that still doesn't answer who is under this mask and why do they want to build this treadmill so bad? Why? Well, fast forward a couple minutes later and we find out the person behind the mask is a female who is Vengeance.
I am vengeance.
Is this serious? Like, this is not a joke? This is the villain? Let's move on. This vengeance-filled villain then ambushed the Flash in public and kidnaps him to bring him to her secret hideout. She rants about how he's only one part of her plan and the more important piece of the puzzle is his lightning rod, Iris West. She doesn't give much more detail about her plan, so we're still left pretty confused, but then all of a sudden, an injured stranger shows up at Iris's doorstep. Her name is Ryan Wilder. Ryan tells Iris that she's also had run-ins with our vengeance villain, also known as Red Death. Ryan says she heard that Red Death was attacking Central City and came to check up on Iris. At first, Iris questions how fast Ryan came to Central City, but doesn't push on this topic much further. But after a little bit more conversation, eventually Iris breaks the fake facade of Ryan. Next, after being caught, Red Death, aka Ryan, explains her real reasoning of showing up here. In summary, she basically was a crime fighter in Gotham City, but crime rates were rising exponentially fast. So she studied Flash's data from his suit and put it in her own suit so she could gain artificial speed. Flash from her world didn't like that, so they built a rivalry and she escaped into the artificial Speed Force, the same Speed Force that randomly spit her out here. So essentially, now she needs the treadmill so she can go back to her timeline and make peace with her Flash once and for all. Of course, Iris, as the great reporter she is, sees many holes in Red Death's story. She says that Ryan is simply thirsty for power and that she's only using Iris to bait out the Flash to kill him. This type of accusation was more than enough to make Red Death crack, turning her into the sinister version of herself she is deep down. And it turns out Iris's theory was right, because then Red Death uses Iris as leverage to force Flash to power her treadmill. Barry, being the kindest baby boo we know, the kindest babe alive, he does so. And unfortunately, all hope seems to be lost. But then, all of a sudden, Mark realizes he's fighting for the wrong team. It's about time, Marky Moo. It's about time. So he switches back to the Flash team and toasts the treadmill. The Flash team successfully escapes, but Mark is left behind. But things are only getting more heated. Now that Red Death's treadmill is destroyed, she truly goes into a psychotic trance.
But this time, we will bring the war to hell!
Guys, I'm not gonna lie, things are really about to get crazy. Okay. Let's do this. With Mark captured, our hero's main goal is to now go save him. I mean, Mark was a backstabbing little loser, so me personally, I would have let him die. Like, I don't really care about you, Blondie, go away, but like, whatever, you know, whatever. So Flash triangulates his location, does some more little scientific stuff, goes to save him, but finds out the whole thing is a setup to capture him. Now, with Flash captured and Red Death's thousands of clones roaming Central City, it looks like Red Death may become victorious. But then, foolishly, so foolishly, Red Death accidentally reveals her biggest weakness: Grodd. She tells Flash that since he abandoned Grodd, Red Death used his mind to become so telepathically powerful, basically meaning Grodd was the source of Red Death's energy. And due to this very foolish mistake, Flash simply goes to Grodd, and thanks to his beautiful looks and charms, he gets Grodd to switch sides again and stop helping her. This completely throws her plan off the rails and leads to her and Flash in a final head-to-head fight. They go dashing down the street, lightning bolts flying at one another, web swinging at one another, until finally the fight is interrupted by the real savior of Gotham Knight, the real Ryan Wilder. They go in a final hand-in-hand combat, and after a gracious double team, the Flash comes out on top once again. Wow, truly what a beautiful journey this has been so far. But I guess Flash can't give us too much of a treat because the next episode has the Flash in it for a total of 0 minutes and 30 seconds. And after Barry and Iris conveniently go on vacation, the episode revolves around Becky, a meta that has always had good luck until one day she keeps having bad luck. For example, her husband dying, her being framed for it, her going to jail, you get the point. Eventually, we find out that this is because of a special rock on her engagement ring that one of her evil family friends gave to her. And the reason they did this is so they can profit off of her bad luck in the casino. Basically, if she has permanent bad luck and she's playing someone in the casino in a 1v1, she's gonna keep constantly losing and he's gonna keep on winning. And I'm not gonna lie, I can't even hate on that. That is so smart. I hope this guy becomes so rich in life because that is so exploiting women. But anyways, of course, since it's illegal, Allegra and Cecile get to the bottom of it and bust his entire operation down. Now moving on, this next episode is spent exploring a dream world where Iris is a cop. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're officially entering weird territory. It is officially weird here. The episode starts off with Nia, a girl in the blue suit known as Dream Chaser, who is having a very disturbing, sinister dream. In the dream, we see a weird person in a cowl and Iris in distress. So Nia, after waking up, heads to find Iris to get to the bottom of this very weird dream. But now things take a weird twist. While Nia is telling Iris about her dream, the sinister cowl man reappears and attacks them both with some blue energy that puts them both in an alternative timeline where Iris is a captain at CCPD. Okay guys, okay, things are officially getting trippy. Imagine Iris West being the captain CCPD. This is Flash season 9. Yo. But then, while running around being cops, a mysterious blue door appears. After they enter it, they all become workers at the coffee store Jitters. Even Barry Allen, the Flash, has become a full-time coffee store worker. Imagine acting as like a superhero Flash, you know, acting like the Flash for 9 entire years just for the final season. By the way, Grant Gustin, yeah, you're gonna be a coffee store manager now. So yeah, put on your robe, come on. okay, but seriously, this is where things actually start getting scary. Back in the real world, Barry discovers them both asleep, meaning the cowl person had put them both to sleep, and then Chester explains to him that if they don't wake up from their deep sleep soon,
if Iris and Nia don't wake up soon, they could fall into a permanent comatose state.
Then back in the dream world, things are only getting weirder. The cowl man attacks the girls again, and this time they end up in a timeline where Iris won the Pulitzer for her article, but instead of joy, her whole team is bashing her. Almost like her winning this article would be her biggest nightmare. But then a couple minutes of hard thinking later, the two figure out that the only way for them to get out of the dream is to figure out what's causing the dream. And this is because scientifically, dreams reflect you as a person and your real life experiences. So if they understood in real life what's causing this, they would be able to return. Iris figures out that she misses having freedom, to which Dream Chaser reassures that, hey Iris, you still have your freedom, don't worry. And the dreamer figures out that she has to give up control of her powers. Thankfully, this realization from both of them brings them back into the real world. We also find out that the person behind the cowl is a female, and she's the first ever dreamer. Wow, so like thinking of things and like realizing things fixed their life? Wow. Great! Wow! What an embarrassingly lame episode. Thankfully, this next episode is a little bit better. This episode starts off right away with another mysterious hooded man breaking into Star Labs and stealing some sort of device. We're also shown a visual of a picture of Star Labs' inspection date of April 5th, 2023. The exact date this episode takes place. But before we can find out who the person behind the hood is or what they stole, these strange looking people show up for the Star Labs mold inspection. At first, Flash's attitude towards this is basically,
I'm the Flash. I'm pretty sure I can handle one mold inspector.
But oh, how wrong he would be. How wrong he would truly be. Turns out Star Labs hadn't been inspected ever since the particle accelerator explosion happened, so they would actually have to do a full in-depth inspection of Star Labs. Of course, Barry and the team hid away all the revealing stuff that might give away his identity, so they should be good, right? Well, within a couple minutes of the inspection, things already start going wrong. For some reason, the entire crew keeps going back and back into the same room when trying to go into different areas. Barry and Iris are equally as confused and have no clue why this is happening. This happens once again, but this time a grandfather clock has entered the room, more specifically a clock from the 19th century, and they are currently in the 21st century, so you could see how that doesn't add up. To speed this up a bit, a couple more weird shenanigans happen in the room, and the inspectors start questioning if Barry Allen is behind this. Now, in a panic, Barry decides to get the inspection people to trust him. He tells these 5 random strangers,
Because I'm the Flash.
oh my god. Don't you guys remember when, like, in season 1, like, it used to be like super rare for him to tell about himself? Like, oh, I can't tell anyone, it's my biggest secret. But I can't be angry for too long, because now here's where things get hostile and people start turning on one another. After some science terminology within the group, they come to the conclusion that the room they're in is a time magnet, and that's why these random things are appearing, and that's why they can't leave. And the reason the room has become a time magnet is because someone stole a physical time magnet weapon and put it in this exact room. But get this, that would mean one of the people in this room is the one that actually stole the magnet and put it there, aka one of these people is the super criminal thief we saw in the very beginning of the episode. Well, before we get a second to truly process this, one of the inspectors is turned into a statue, and Barry says this is because of the scientific law of conservation of matter. Another quick great science term we learned happened a couple minutes after, where Iris says she's going through pregnancy brain, a science term that says when a woman goes through this the 3rd trimester in her pregnancy, her brain starts to actually shrink, making them more forgetful throughout the day. I just thought it'd be cool for you guys to know this like new fact. Like if you want to tell your mom about this, I feel like she'd be proud of you. So go tell her. Pregnancy brain, yay! But anyways, moving on. Now, if you guys haven't noticed, one of the members in this inspection has been acting quite weird. The member I'm talking about is this one, the girl that's meant to check the electricity of Star Labs. Barry also seems to agree with me, so he sets her up by telling her to check the valves, and well, I'll let you listen to the rest of it.
The wiring throughout Star Labs is probably faulty, including the check valves. Where do you want to start?
First, I'll check the wires. Then I'll...
Call a plumber, since check valves guide water flow, not electricity.
After this genius tactic, she instantly turns into a real life form and makes 2 other statues out of her team. Oh my, okay. Luckily, this thief really isn't the smartest because we find out after she stole the time magnet, she became pretty powerless and she could no longer run through time. Flash tells her he will give her some of his power if she promises to use it to go through time and return the time magnet where it belongs. After some back and forth, thankfully she agrees, and then the entire timeline is set back to place. The episode ends off with Barry and Iris eating some ice cream and reminiscing about what life will be like when Nora, their first ever daughter, gets here. But you know what, guys? Until she gets here, this was the end of the Flash Season 9 recap. If you guys haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do it right now, and I will see you guys next time. Deuces! Yo!